Stop resonating with darkness. Introduction. Everything in the universe vibrates, from the orbit of planets to the firing of neurons in your brain. All movement is rhythm, all rhythm is energy, and all energy is vibration. 2 centuries ago, scientists began to prove what mystics had always intuited. In 1864, James Clerk Maxwell unified electricity and magnetism into one grand law, revealing that light itself was an electromagnetic wave. Soon after, Heinrich Hertz produced those waves in the laboratory, proving that unseen fields could carry invisible information through space. And then Nikola Tesla declared that the entire cosmos is a sea of energy. What these discoveries hinted at was staggering. You are not living in an energetic universe. You are made of it. And this energy does not simply surround you. It responds to you. Yet most of humanity still vibrates unconsciously. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs radiate frequencies that interact with the energetic field around us, but we rarely realize it. When we dwell in fear, stress, or resentment, we emit chaotic signals that attract their likeness. We quite literally resonate with darkness, not as punishment, but as physics. Quantum theory later confirmed this interaction. When Max Planck discovered the quantum of energy, he called matter a concentration of vibration. And decades later, experiments in quantum coherence proved that observation and emotion alter molecular behavior. Energy organizes itself according to resonance, the law that governs all creation, from sound to consciousness. The tragedy is that most people are unaware of what they are broadcasting. They fight external darkness while feeding it energetically from within. Consider this. The electromagnetic field of the human heart is 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. Every heartbeat sends waves into the surrounding space, measurable by modern instruments. Those waves synchronize with others, influencing people, environments, and even biological systems nearby. When you are angry, that field contracts. When you feel love, it expands. Your body is a living transmitter, constantly shaping the invisible architecture of your reality. This is not superstition. It is the bridge between ancient metaphysics and modern physics. You are literally tuning your world by the emotions you sustain. To stop resonating with darkness, you must first understand that energy is obedient. It reflects your tone, not your intentions. This means your spiritual work begins not in outer conflict, but in inner calibration. Modern neuroscience confirms that sustained emotion rewires the brain, changes hormonal chemistry, and alters electromagnetic patterns in the body. You do not escape darkness by fighting it. You transcend it by changing your frequency. Every time you choose calm over chaos, gratitude over complaint, or compassion over judgment, you instruct the field to reorganize itself around your new vibration. You become coherent, and coherence is power. So, remember, you are not a static being trapped in circumstance. You are a wave in motion, capable of changing the entire pattern of your life through the simple mastery of resonance. The same energy that governs galaxies also flows through your heartbeat. To learn to direct it consciously is to rediscover the lost bridge between science and spirit, between field and soul. In the chapters ahead, we will explore how your emotions feed energetic patterns, how awareness transmutes vibration, and how the law of resonance can liberate you from the gravity of fear. Because the darkness you fear has never been an enemy. It has only ever been a lower octave of your own light, waiting to be tuned higher. Chapter 1. The Forgotten Light. Every human being carries a luminous field of energy, an invisible vibration that radiates far beyond the body. This field responds to every thought, emotion, and belief we hold. Whether we are aware of it or not, it constantly communicates with the universe, transmitting signals that magnetize experiences, people, and events into our lives. This invisible mechanism explains why certain environments drain our strength, while others uplift our spirit. It is not the walls or the air that change us. It is the energy within us, resonating with the energy around us. In simple terms, we are vibrational instruments playing in the symphony of existence. When our tone is bright and coherent, we attract harmony. When our tone is clouded by fear, anger, or despair, we begin to resonate with what can only be described as darkness. Darkness, however, is not a creature to fear. It is not a demon lurking outside of you. It is a vibration, a low frequency of consciousness generated by emotional dissonance. As Helena Blavatsky explained, human thoughts and emotions are living entities. They take shape in the astral dimension, forming energy patterns that continue to exist long after the original feeling has passed. When we continuously generate fear, hatred, or envy, these patterns accumulate and form dense fields of energy. Over time, we unknowingly become tuned to their frequency. Rudolf Steiner described this phenomenon in spiritual terms. He taught that every soul lives between two opposing forces, one pulling upward toward higher ideals and another pulling downward into material heaviness and forgetfulness. The balance between these forces determines the clarity of our perception. When we neglect the life of the spirit, the material world becomes all-consuming. We begin to identify with our fears, our desires, and our impulses. The light of consciousness fades, and we start resonating with darkness, not because darkness conquered us, but because we forgot how to vibrate higher. This forgetting is the great tragedy of human life. We imagine that evil is external, when in truth it begins as a frequency within us. Every moment of irritation, resentment, or self-pity slightly lowers the tone of our being. At first, we barely notice the difference until the world around us begins to mirror that vibration back. People seem harsher, life feels heavier, possibilities appear smaller, and without realizing it, we start creating from the shadow instead of the light. Yet the power that created the stars still burns within you. The same consciousness that shaped galaxies continues to flow through your mind and your heart. Saint-Germain called this the flame of transmutation, a spiritual fire capable of dissolving all lower vibrations and restoring the divine pattern within. This flame, he taught, responds to command. It obeys awareness. When you consciously choose to stop resonating with darkness, you are not rejecting the world. You are reclaiming your original vibration. Energy is obedient. It reflects your dominant state. The more you dwell on conflict, the more energy organizes itself around that frequency. The more you embody love, the more creation harmonizes in your favor. This is not poetry. It is energetic law. Modern physics calls it resonance, the tendency of waves with similar frequencies to amplify each other. The universe, in essence, is a vast field of vibratory intelligence that responds to the quality of your internal rhythm. That is why your thoughts are not harmless. Every thought carries momentum. Every emotion produces a ripple in the invisible ocean of energy. If these ripples are chaotic, they distort the field around you. If they are coherent, they align you with divine order. Blavatsky referred to this as the astral mirror of thought, the subtle layer of reality that reflects whatever we project into it. The wise, therefore, purify their thoughts, not out of superstition, but out of knowledge that every mental image will eventually return multiplied. Think about this. When you walk into a room filled with tension, you can feel it. No words are spoken, yet something invisible presses on your chest. That is resonance. And the same principle operates in every area of your life. You cannot receive peace while broadcasting fear. You cannot attract clarity while indulging confusion. The outer world merely arranges itself according to the inner frequency you maintain. So if you feel surrounded by heaviness, it does not mean you are cursed or punished. It means your vibration has become entangled with energies that do not reflect your true nature. The moment you recognize this, the power returns to you. By shifting your focus, by elevating your emotion, by reaffirming your divine identity, you change your resonance, and the universe must respond accordingly. Saint-Germain summarized this in one of his most powerful decrees: "I am the light that no shadow can touch." This statement is more than an affirmation, it is a vibrational command. It reprograms the field of consciousness surrounding you, aligning it once again with purity and truth. To stop resonating with darkness is therefore not a battle. It is an act of remembrance. It is the conscious decision to vibrate in alignment with the source instead of the noise of the world. When you make this choice, something extraordinary happens. The fog begins to lift. The same reality that once felt heavy starts to feel alive again. Opportunities emerge where none seem to exist. People respond to you differently because your energy no longer invites conflict. You become a transmitter of peace, and that peace, quiet, radiant, magnetic, becomes your new point of attraction. So as you listen to this, take a slow, deliberate breath. Feel the air entering your lungs as pure life force. Exhale the residue of fear, guilt, and despair. You are retuning your instrument. You are remembering the light that was never lost. Darkness cannot cling to one who remembers who they are. Chapter 2. How we feed the shadow. Every vibration you emit returns to you magnified. This is not a moral rule, but a universal mechanism, one as precise as gravity. It is called resonant feedback, the process by which energy aligns with the energy of its own frequency. The emotions you repeat daily become the signature vibration of your field, and that vibration, in turn, determines the quality of everything you experience. Most people live unaware of this exchange. They wake up each morning and immediately resume the same emotional rhythm as the day before: anxiety, irritation, self-doubt, worry about money, resentment toward others. Each of these frequencies carries an energetic weight. When repeated long enough, they form what Blavatsky described as elementals of the astral plane, psychic fragments sustained by human emotion. They are not metaphors. They are living constructs of energy that orbit our consciousness, feeding on the same feeling that created them. In ancient terms, these forms were called larvae, or thought forms. Modern psychology might call them emotional imprints. Science could define them as standing waves of information in the quantum field. Whatever name we give them, their nature remains the same. They perpetuate what they are made of. When you dwell on anger, you create an energetic loop that sustains more anger. When you dwell on guilt, you resonate with situations that affirm guilt. When you focus on fear, your nervous system floods your body with stress chemicals, which lower your frequency and make you receptive to the very conditions you wish to avoid. This is how we feed the shadow, not through deliberate evil, but through unconscious repetition. Imagine your consciousness as a powerful transmitter, broadcasting every second of your life. The signal it emits is shaped by your dominant thoughts and emotions. If you transmit the frequency of lack, the universe responds with experiences that confirm it, not as punishment, but as resonance. You attract what you harmonize with. This truth has been echoed by mystics, prophets, and scientists alike. Neville Goddard called it the law of assumption. Saint-Germain referred to it as the alchemy of energy. Modern physics calls it the observer effect, where observation itself influences the behavior of matter. The field mirrors you. The universe responds to your vibration, not your words. That is why affirmations fail when they are recited without belief. If you say, "I am abundant," but internally feel poor, the stronger frequency, your feeling, dominates the equation. The universe responds to the tone beneath the words. Helena Blavatsky warned that humanity was surrounded by its own astral emissions. Every society, she said, produces a collective atmosphere, an invisible reservoir of emotions, fears, and desires that shape its destiny. You can sense it when you walk into a city filled with unrest, or into a temple filled with peace. The air feels charged because it is. You are breathing in a psychic climate woven from millions of thoughts. When your personal energy field matches that collective field, you merge with it. This is why it's easy to feel hopeless when everyone around you is afraid, or to feel angry when society is polarized. The shadow of the collective begins to feed on the vibration of the individual, and the individual, unaware, contributes back to it, completing the circuit. Rudolf Steiner described this dynamic as the struggle between light and shadow beings that feed on human emotion. He said that when we surrender to fear, bitterness, or pride, we offer our vitality to these unseen forces. They grow stronger through our resonance, while we grow weaker through our identification with them. But his message was not of fear, it was of mastery. He explained that awareness transforms everything it touches. The moment you see the mechanism, you can step out of it. So how do we stop feeding the shadow? The process begins not with force, but with perception. Darkness thrives in unconsciousness. It dissolves in observation. When anger arises, pause. Don't condemn it, see it. Observe how it vibrates in the body, how it tightens the chest, how it alters the breath. In that simple act of awareness, you interrupt the energy circuit. You are no longer inside the emotion, you are observing it. And what you observe, you begin to transform. This is the first alchemy, transmutation through awareness. The second alchemy comes through emotion. Saint-Germain taught that the highest transmuting energy available to humanity is love in action. Love is not sentiment, it is the intelligent force of the universe that reorganizes chaos into harmony. When you project love towards something dark, you do not condone it, you change its frequency. Love is the universal solvent. It melts density into light. Try it now. Recall something that disturbs you. A memory, a person, a fear. Visualize it surrounded by a violet flame. This flame does not burn, it transforms. It takes the frequency of pain and raises it into wisdom. Repeat silently, I bless you with light. You no longer have power over me. You will feel the vibration shift. That is transmutation, the science of energy redemption. When you cease to resonate with darkness, you stop feeding it. When you refuse to echo hatred, you cut off its supply. And when enough people do this, the collective field begins to heal. The world does not change because someone fights the dark. It changes because someone withdraws resonance from it. Every healed vibration weakens the global field of fear and strengthens the field of love. This is not a metaphor, it is measurable energy. Studies in quantum coherence, group meditation, and bioelectromagnetism have already shown that the human heart emits a powerful electromagnetic field capable of influencing its environment. When you radiate peace, you are literally reorganizing particles around you. The field listens to feeling. The universe obeys tone. To feed the shadow is to forget this truth. To awaken from it is to remember your creative power. Every time you choose understanding over judgment, every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, every time you choose awareness over reaction, you reclaim your light. The law is simple. Whatever you energize grows. Whatever you withdraw energy from fades. You do not destroy darkness. You stop resonating with it. And as you do, your entire frequency shifts, from victim to creator, from emitter of fear to transmitter of divine order. The shadow ends not in battle, but in illumination. You feed what you focus on, so focus wisely. Chapter 3. Recognizing your frequency. Every human being carries a unique vibrational signature, a subtle tone that tells the universe who you are, what you believe, and what you expect from life. This signature is not hidden in mystery. It is revealed every time you speak, think, feel, or act. Your tone is the invisible language of your consciousness, and it is constantly broadcasting your inner state into the quantum field around you. Modern science has begun to confirm what mystics have known for ages, that we are transmitters of energy. The human body is a living electromagnetic system. The heart alone generates a field measurable several feet beyond the skin. Every pulse, every emotion alters its rhythm, and that rhythm informs the world around you. But even beyond biology, there is the field of consciousness itself. Helena Blavatsky described this field as the luminous ocean of thought, where every human emotion becomes a wave influencing the collective current. Rudolf Steiner called it the moral ether, the subtle environment shaped by human intention. And Saint-Germain referred to it simply as the radiance of the I Am, the divine essence emanating from each soul. Your personal frequency is not an abstract concept. It is the sum of your predominant states of mind and heart. If you live in gratitude, your field becomes luminous and magnetic. If you live in fear, it becomes heavy and constricted. The universe reads these vibrations the way a musician reads music. instantly recognizing harmony or discord. To recognize your own frequency, begin not by analyzing, but by feeling. Close your eyes and bring your attention inward. Notice the subtle sensation that surrounds you, that invisible atmosphere you carry everywhere you go. Does it feel open and expansive, or tense and compressed? Does it feel luminous or clouded? That sensation is your current vibration made tangible. Every thought you think either amplifies or lowers it. Every emotion you sustain either clarifies or distorts it. When your mind dwells on worry, your field contracts. When you breathe slowly and think of something you love, it expands again. The process is simple, but the discipline is rare. Most people rarely stop to observe the state of their own energy. They react to life as though they were separate from it, unaware that life is mirroring back the frequency they are transmitting. To know your frequency is to see the bridge between inner cause and outer effect. You will notice how negative moods attract corresponding events, not through punishment, but through resonance. You will also notice how an elevated emotional tone seems to reorganize reality in your favor. Opportunities appear, synchronicities multiply, relationships soften. It is not magic, it is coherence. Coherence is the natural alignment of your mental, emotional, and physical energy. When these three aspects of your being vibrate together, your frequency becomes stable and powerful. But when your thoughts contradict your emotions, or when your words deny your feelings, your signal becomes fragmented. For example, when you say "I'm fine" while feeling anxious, your field sends mixed instructions to the universe. One vibration says peace, another screams tension. The result is confusion, both inside and around you. Blavatsky compared this to static interference in the astral plane, the distortion that occurs when consciousness loses its center. To realign, you must bring honesty to your vibration. Do not pretend to be positive. Instead, become aware of your true emotional tone and gently elevate it. Acknowledge your fear, then breathe through it. Recognize your sadness, then offer it compassion. As Saint-Germain taught, energy obeys its master, not its prisoner. You cannot command what you deny, but you can transform what you embrace. Think of your emotions as colors in motion. Each feeling paints your energetic field in a different hue. Joy emits gold. Peace radiates blue. Compassion vibrates in rose and violet tones. But anger, envy, or despair dim the light into shades of gray and red. This spectrum is visible in the subtle world, even if unseen by physical eyes. Sensitive people can sense it intuitively, that feeling you get around someone who drains you or someone who uplifts you. They are not doing it consciously. Their field is simply communicating its tone. Steiner explained that these vibrations shape invisible forms, energetic patterns that later solidify as experience. To change your future, you must first change the shapes your thoughts are sculpting now. Begin by asking yourself, what does my frequency feel like today? What emotion dominates my inner atmosphere? What story am I unconsciously transmitting into the universe? Your answers may surprise you. You may realize that much of your energy is spent maintaining frequencies that do not belong to you. The worries of others, the weight of the collective, the echoes of your past. These vibrations cling to you because you have not consciously retuned yourself. But awareness changes everything. The moment you identify a vibration that does not reflect your truth, it begins to dissolve. You reclaim your tone. Saint-Germain's students practice this through the violet flame meditation, a simple yet powerful visualization. They would imagine a radiant violet light expanding from the heart outward, cleansing every discordant frequency. This practice is not symbolic. It works because visualization directs energy. The mind's image instructs the quantum field on how to reorganize itself. When you visualize light, your nervous system responds, your electromagnetic field recalibrates, and your consciousness emits a new command into the universe. The more consistently you do this, the faster your outer reality begins to shift. Your field becomes coherent, your heart steadier, your thoughts luminous. And when your frequency stabilizes in love and self-awareness, darkness can no longer attach itself to you because there is no longer resonance. To recognize your frequency is to remember that you are both transmitter and receiver. You broadcast the tone of your consciousness, and you attract experiences that echo it. If you don't like what you are receiving, change what you are sending. You are not cursed by fate. You are instructed by vibration. Life is a mirror that reflects your dominant state moment by moment. So pause often throughout your day and silently ask, what am I resonating with right now? If it is fear, breathe light into it. If it is love, expand it. If it is confusion, center yourself in stillness until clarity returns. In this way, your energy becomes your compass, your language, and your protection. And when you master your frequency, you will see that there was never darkness to fear, only forgotten light waiting to be tuned again. Chapter 4. Transmutation through light. There is a moment in every awakening when you realize that awareness itself is power. You no longer try to destroy your darkness, you learn to transform it. This process, known through the ages as transmutation, is the art of changing the quality of energy without resisting it. It is not an escape from shadow, but a re-education of vibration. When you learn to convert discord into harmony, you begin to work with the same principle that sustains the stars. Modern physics hints at this mystery through the concept of energy conservation. Energy cannot be destroyed, it only changes form. In spiritual science, the same principle applies to emotion. Fear cannot be erased by denial, anger cannot be buried or ignored, but both can be elevated. They can be refined through awareness, lifted into higher states of coherence. Helena Blavatsky called this the sacred chemistry of the soul. Every thought, she said, carries a magnetic current. If that current is low, born of pain, jealousy, or shame, it sinks into heavy vibration. But when the mind charges that same current with compassion, it begins to rise, becoming luminous and subtle. She compared this process to distillation, the slow purification of consciousness until only the essence remains, clear, radiant, and incorruptible. Rudolf Steiner expanded this idea further. He described transmutation as the development of spiritual muscles. Just as the body strengthens through resistance, the soul evolves by meeting darkness with light. Every conflict, every trial becomes the raw material of growth. What once oppressed you becomes the very force that empowers you. And Saint-Germain, master of sacred alchemy, revealed the most practical method for achieving it, the violet flame of transformation. He taught that light, when consciously invoked, is intelligent. It knows exactly what to do. When you call upon this flame, you are not summoning fantasy, but activating the higher frequency within your own field. The violet ray transmutes discordant energy into divine order. It does not fight darkness, it reharmonizes it. 1. The science behind the light. When you visualize light, your nervous system responds. Neural pathways begin to shift, hormones and electromagnetic impulses adjust. This is measurable. Researchers studying visualization have found that the brain fires the same neurons during imagined activity as it does during physical action. In energetic terms, imagination is the blueprint of reality, the instruction to the field. Every image you hold in your mind sends a wave through your body's electromagnetic network. When that image carries the emotion of love, gratitude, or peace, your heart's field becomes coherent. That coherence radiates outward, influencing the matter around you. This is the same mechanism through which a single tuning fork can cause another nearby to vibrate in sympathy. Your consciousness, vibrating at a higher frequency, gently lifts the energy around it toward resonance. This is why one centered person can calm an entire room. It is not charisma. It is physics of the soul. 2. The inner technique. Begin by sitting quietly and acknowledging whatever energy you feel. Do not judge it. Whether it is fear, exhaustion, or confusion, welcome it as raw material for transmutation. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. On each inhale, imagine drawing pure light from the infinite source above your head. On each exhale, see that light filling your heart, expanding outward in a soft violet hue. Visualize it spreading through every cell, every memory, every emotion. Whisper silently, "I am the flame that transforms all discord into divine light." Do this until you feel the energy shift, until your mind quiets and your heart feels open again. You have not escaped your pain. You have elevated it. You have changed its frequency. 3. The emotional alchemy. Every negative emotion is an invitation to rise. Fear is courage waiting to be discovered. Anger is energy demanding direction. Sadness is depth-seeking expression. When you meet these emotions consciously, you transmute their charge. The vibration of fear, for example, oscillates rapidly but without order, chaotic and draining. Introduce awareness, and the wave begins to stabilize. Add compassion, and it harmonizes. Combine both, and fear transforms into wisdom. Steiner referred to this as the redemption of forces. Saint-Germain called it the mastery of the flame. In quantum terms, it is coherence, the reorganization of scattered particles into symmetry. When your inner state becomes coherent, your outer reality rearranges to match. 4. The shift from reaction to creation. The difference between unconscious reaction and conscious creation is awareness. When you react, you are at the mercy of inherited vibration, the echoes of old pain. When you create consciously, you introduce light into that vibration and give it a new pattern. Blavatsky wrote that each thought, once illumined, becomes a servant of the soul. The emotions that once bound you begin to serve you. They become strength, empathy, and insight. This is transmutation, converting density into power, turning memory into illumination. In practical life, it means you no longer lose yourself in anger. You pause, breathe, and redirect that energy into action, guided by wisdom. You no longer collapse under sadness. You use its depth to understand others. You no longer drown in fear. You translate it into vigilance, courage, and faith. You begin to live as light in motion. 5. The resonance of love. The ultimate agent of transmutation is love, not sentimental affection, but pure, unconditional resonance, the frequency of the source itself. Love is the architect of order. It restores equilibrium wherever it is introduced. When you love, you expand. Your atoms vibrate faster, your field brightens, and the universe aligns with your tone. Love is not weakness, it is structure. It is the organizing intelligence of creation. Saint-Germain said, "When love governs your consciousness, the universe must obey." This is because love carries no resistance. It flows, and all energy seeks to flow with it. That is why forgiveness is liberation. When you forgive, you stop binding yourself to the vibration of injury. You release the loop and rise above it. Your frequency ascends, and with it, everything in your reality begins to reflect a higher order. 6. Living as light. Transmutation is not a single event. It is a lifestyle of refinement. Each day offers opportunities to transform energy, the impatience in traffic, the anxiety of uncertainty, the pain of misunderstanding. Every instance invites you to invoke the flame again, to choose awareness over reaction. In time, this becomes natural. Your nervous system adapts to peace. Your aura stabilizes in radiance. People sense something different in your presence, not superiority, but serenity. You have stopped resonating with darkness, and so darkness no longer recognizes you. This is what the masters meant by living light. You become a conscious transformer in the web of life, turning chaos into harmony, noise into music, shadow into dawn. Energy will always follow the command of consciousness. When you direct it with love and understanding, it aligns with divine law. When you neglect it, it follows the patterns of fear. Transmutation is simply remembering who gives the command. So the next time pain arises, do not resist it. See it as energy asking to evolve. Meet it with your inner light. Say to it gently, "You are free to become higher," and watch as the universe rearranges itself around that simple act of mastery. Chapter 5. the alchemy of opposites. Every force in the universe exists by virtue of its counterpart. Without night, we would never comprehend dawn. Without silence, sound would have no meaning. Creation itself unfolds through contrast, through the rhythm of expansion and contraction, of inhale and exhale, of light discovering itself against the backdrop of shadow. What mystics called the dual current is not a war between good and evil, but the cosmic engine of evolution. Each polarity reveals the other's depth. Blavatsky wrote that spirit and matter are two states of one eternal essence. They are not enemies. They are the two faces of divine consciousness. To reject either is to fracture the whole. To integrate both is to become complete. 1. The purpose of polarity. When we first awaken, we often see the world in absolutes. Light feels holy, darkness feels profane. But as awareness matures, we realize that what we call darkness is merely unawakened light, energy vibrating at a slower rate, awaiting recognition. Steiner explained that humanity evolves precisely by encountering these opposing currents. Through resistance, consciousness strengthens. Through challenge, wisdom crystallizes. Imagine the universe as a grand pendulum. If it were to swing only in one direction, motion would cease. It is the return, the opposite, that sustains the dance. So too with the soul. Joy deepens because you have tasted sorrow. Peace becomes sacred because you once knew chaos. This is the secret of the alchemist. Transmutation does not mean destroying the dense, but elevating it. Every emotion, even despair, carries the seed of its own redemption. Hidden within fear lies the instinct to protect life. Within anger, the drive to restore order. Within grief, the capacity to love more fully. Light is always waiting inside the shadow, longing to be recognized. 2. The meeting of currents. On the quantum level, every particle has its antiparticle, a mirror that balances charge. This is not a coincidence, it is the law. In human experience, that symmetry is expressed as the interplay between your inner and outer worlds. Your thoughts create polarity within consciousness, a positive and negative charge, and the spark between them is what generates experience. Saint-Germain described this as the marriage of fire and water within the soul. Fire represents the upward impulse of spirit. Water, the receptive wisdom of matter. When they unite harmoniously, they give birth to creation. When they divide, they produce turmoil. Each time you feel conflict within yourself, between courage and doubt, compassion and judgment, you are witnessing this alchemy in action. Do not suppress one side. Bring them together in understanding. The moment love observes fear, transformation begins. The currents blend, and a higher vibration emerges, like two colors merging to form a brighter hue. 3. The mirror law. Everything you resist externally reveals something unresolved internally. The person who irritates you, the event that triggers you, the system that oppresses you, all are mirrors reflecting frequencies within your own field. The universe, neutral and precise, uses polarity to teach coherence. When you learn to recognize yourself in the opposite, the lesson is complete. This is why judgment perpetuates pain. It divides energy that longs to unify. The moment you withdraw judgment, you collapse the distance between poles. Compassion bridges the gap. You begin to see that what you called darkness was never separate from you. It was a forgotten expression of the same source. Blavatsky hinted at this when she wrote, "The pupil must find the light hidden within the heart of darkness, for only through entering the shadow consciously can one ignite the inner sun." 4. Equilibrium, the true alchemy. In every mystery school, the final stage of initiation was called equilibrium. It represented mastery over duality, not the erasure of contrast, but the awareness that both arise from one law. When you hold love and fear in the same heart without being torn apart, you have achieved equilibrium. Steiner likened this to the balance of the human heart between two lungs, one drawing in, the other releasing. Each motion vital, neither superior. Life itself is maintained by this dynamic balance. In consciousness, equilibrium feels like stillness in motion, the calm center of a vast rotating universe. Saint-Germain taught that the adept must stand in the eye of the flame, untouched by either extreme. From that center, you can direct energy with precision because you are no longer pulled by polarity. You command it. This is the true alchemy of opposites, the mastery of vibration through inner neutrality. 5. Light emerging through shadow. Look back on your life and you'll see this law at work. Every fall led to understanding. Every heartbreak widened your capacity to love. Every loss prepared space for greater fullness. The universe uses contrast to sculpt consciousness. It is never punishment, it is refinement. If you study the night sky, you'll notice that stars are not seen in spite of the darkness, but because of it. Light requires contrast to be perceived. In the same way, the soul requires the depths of experience to realize its own radiance. The alchemist's path is not to escape the night, but to bring dawn wherever he stands. You do this every time you bless what once hurt you, every time you turn pain into wisdom, every time you choose understanding over resentment. In those moments, you embody the eternal law. The higher governs the lower through love. 6. Living in the union. Once you accept the necessity of opposites, resistance ends. You stop fearing darkness and begin to use it as momentum toward the light. The very energies that once enslaved you become your servants. Fear becomes alertness. Sadness becomes empathy. Desire becomes creativity. Through awareness, every polarity transforms into power. This is why the masters smile in the midst of chaos. They see the hidden order. They understand that even in apparent disorder, the universe is balancing itself. They live in gratitude for both the ascent and the descent, the expansion and contraction, knowing that each pulse carries the signature of divine intelligence. When you too adopt this vision, life ceases to be a struggle between opposites and becomes a conversation between complements. Darkness is no longer the enemy of light. It is its contrast, its teacher, its proof. 7. The synthesis of being. Ultimately, the alchemy of opposites leads you to the realization that you are both. You are the stillness and the motion, the silence and the word, the seed and the flower. The light of spirit flows through the matter of your form to experience itself. And when you see this clearly, you begin to live as consciousness unbound, an instrument through which duality harmonizes back into unity. Blavatsky called this the marriage of heaven and earth within the heart. Steiner named it the Christ within, the balance of extremes. Saint-Germain called it the I am presence realized. Different languages, one revelation. The opposites are reconciled in you. So when darkness visits again, and it will as part of life's rhythm, welcome it as an old friend returning with a message. Ask it, what higher frequency are you inviting me to remember? Then listen. Its answer will always lead you home, back to equilibrium, back to light, back to the unity from which all opposites emerge. For the true alchemist, nothing is evil, nothing is wasted, and nothing is lost. All is energy awaiting redemption. All is God, seeking to know itself through contrast. And when you understand this, you no longer flee the shadow. You stand within it, radiant, and it becomes transparent. The opposites dissolve, and only the eternal light remains, silent, vast, and awake within you. Chapter 6. The Power That Never Sleeps. Everything you have ever felt, imagined, or believed still lives within the great field of consciousness that surrounds you. Nothing is lost. Nothing truly ends. Energy only changes form, and consciousness, the infinite intelligence that animates all life, never stops creating. It is the power that never sleeps. From the smallest vibration of a thought to the birth of a star, this same law governs all. The universe is not a collection of separate things, but a single living current flowing through infinite expressions of itself. Blavatsky called it the divine motion of spirit through matter. Steiner described it as the eternal becoming of God within creation. Saint-Germain revealed it as the breath of the I Am, the ceaseless activity of divine awareness transforming itself through experience. It has no beginning and no end. It is the rhythm behind the beating heart, the intelligence within every atom, the silence that watches your thoughts come and go. Even in moments of despair, this power remains active, guiding, responding, shaping reality through the tones you emit. You do not need to summon it. You are it. 1. Consciousness never rests. The greatest misunderstanding of the human mind is the belief that creation happens only when we are consciously doing something. But reality does not pause when you stop paying attention. The law of vibration continues to translate your inner state into experience, whether you are aware of it or not. This is why awareness is liberation. It turns unconscious creation into deliberate manifestation. Even while you sleep, your consciousness continues to generate. Your dreams are not random illusions. They are symbolic messages from the deeper self, showing you what frequencies are still active within you. The field never ceases to move. It mirrors your last dominant tone until a new one replaces it. That is why your emotional state matters more than your intentions. Intentions are the blueprints, emotions are the builders. The universe follows the vibration that holds the most energy, not the words that hold the most hope. To master your life, then, is to become the guardian of your inner state, to ensure that what you feel aligns with what you wish to create. 2. The divine circuit. Everything in creation is connected by resonance. Your thoughts do not vanish into the void. They travel through the web of existence, influencing others and returning amplified. You are constantly transmitting and receiving signals from this infinite network. When you think with love, you strengthen the field of love in the world. When you think with fear, you strengthen the field of fear. Both are valid frequencies. The universe amplifies whichever you invest in. That is why prayer, meditation, and gratitude hold such power. They tune your individual circuit to the divine current. Imagine your consciousness as a spark within the great electrical body of God. The current flows through you continuously. If your inner wiring, via your thoughts and emotions, is clear, the current passes easily, illuminating everything it touches. But when you fill the circuit with resistance, through guilt, resentment, or doubt, the light dims and you begin to believe you are disconnected. Yet the source never stops sending. Only the receiver needs retuning. 3. The eternal observer. At the center of your being is a silent presence that has never been touched by darkness. It watches your joys and your sorrows, your triumphs and your mistakes, with perfect equanimity. It does not condemn, nor does it indulge. It simply is. This observer is not indifferent. It is pure awareness, beyond polarity. When you learn to rest your attention there, in that still center, you align with the power that never sleeps. From this state, you no longer react to the play of opposites, you direct them. You become the conductor instead of the instrument. You cease to chase light or flee darkness, because you understand that both move within you like tides under one sky. The ancient mystics called this state the peace of the self. Modern science might call it quantum coherence, the alignment of the observer with the field. Whatever the language, the experience is unmistakable. You feel vast, quiet, unhurried, and unafraid. You realize that creation responds effortlessly to consciousness in harmony with itself. 4. Returning to the original tone. Everything you have practiced, awareness, transmutation, equilibrium, leads to this. A return to your original tone, the tone that was pure before fear, radiant before thought, whole before time. That tone is still vibrating within you. It has never left. It is the same frequency that hums at the heart of every galaxy, the same silence that breathes between the words of every prayer. When you align with it, your life begins to move with a rhythm of divine timing. Synchronicities multiply. What once felt difficult begins to flow. Obstacles dissolve because resistance itself no longer exists within your field. You have become transparent to the source. This is the essence of Saint-Germain's teaching, that the human being, once self-aware, becomes a vessel of pure light, an instrument through which the infinite expresses itself consciously. You are not here to escape the material world, but to spiritualize it through your vibration, to walk as light among forms, to remind creation of its own divinity. 5. The infinite continuum. There is no final arrival. Even enlightenment is not an ending, but a higher octave in the same eternal song. The universe evolves through you as much as you evolve through it. Each realization expands the total consciousness of all life. This is why your healing matters. Every thought you purify, every emotion you transmute, every act of love you radiate contributes to the unfolding of cosmic order. You are not a small being seeking light. You are light discovering how vast it truly is. Blavatsky said, "The flame within man is part of the flame of the universe. You cannot be separate from the source because you are its ongoing expression." Even in sleep, even in silence, even in the pause between heartbeats, creation continues through you. You are the dreamer and the dream, the light and the reflection, the creator and the created. 6. The awakening without end. As this understanding deepens, fear loses meaning. Darkness no longer feels threatening because you recognize it as a phase in the great oscillation of consciousness. The mind quiets, the heart expands, and life begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a symphony. You realize that you are being carried, not by fate, but by law. The same law that keeps planets in orbit keeps your soul in alignment. The same force that births stars continues to breathe you into being. You never walk alone. The field is always with you, responding, echoing, mirroring your tone with infinite precision. The universe is not waiting to bless you. It already is. You simply attune to the blessing by remembering who you are. This is the great awakening, not an escape from reality, but the realization that you are reality itself. 7. The final revelation. So listen closely. Even now, as these words meet your awareness, the power is still moving through you, unseen, unceasing, eternal. It shapes galaxies and thoughts alike. It spins the atoms in your hands and the planets above your head. It is the same power that began before beginnings and will continue beyond ends. It is the power that never sleeps, and it lives within you. Every time you choose love over fear, you awaken more of it. Every time you forgive, you release more of it. Every time you stand still in awareness, it flows unobstructed through you, turning even the darkest experience into light. You are the vessel through which eternity remembers itself, the voice through which creation sings, the awareness through which the infinite looks at its own reflection and smiles. So let the darkness come if it must. Let the light rise as it always will. Through both, you remain what you have always been, the timeless flame in the heart of God, the power that never sleeps. Epilogue. The great forgetting why consciousness chose amnesia to awaken itself. Before there was memory, there was awareness, pure, radiant, infinite, a boundless field of intelligence resting in itself, unbroken, eternal, and whole. But within that stillness stirred a question older than time. What am I? That single spark of curiosity rippled through eternity, and in answering it, consciousness began its descent, from unity into multiplicity, from silence into sound, from light into matter, and thus began the great forgetting. To know itself, the infinite had to become the finite. To experience love, it had to step into the illusion of separation. To rediscover its own light, it had to walk through the shadow. This forgetting was not a fall, it was a design, a divine experiment through which consciousness could taste itself from every possible angle, as star and soil, joy and sorrow, saint and sinner, birth and death. In that long sleep of spirit, we began to call ourselves human. We built worlds of memory and emotion. We created identities, stories, and names. But deep within, the ancient echo never stopped whispering, "Remember." Every lifetime is an episode in that remembrance, every heartbreak, every triumph, every loss and revelation is the soul's slow awakening from the dream of forgetting. You are not a being searching for God, you are Go, remembering what you already are. Blavatsky called this the pilgrimage of the monad. The journey of divine consciousness through matter, forgetting itself only to rediscover the eternal within the temporal. Steiner described it as the descent of spirit into experience, a necessary veiling of the divine so that wisdom could emerge through contrast. Saint-Germain called it the great experiment of love, where the infinite fragments itself into billions of sparks, each one destined to find its way home through the power of free will. You are one of those sparks. You volunteered for this descent, not as punishment, but as purpose. For only through forgetfulness can discovery be real. Only through limitation can omnipotence learn tenderness. Only through shadow can light remember its brilliance. That is why your struggles matter. That is why your wounds are sacred. They are not signs of failure, they are portals of awakening. Each pain carries the vibration of a lesson your soul designed for itself before time began. When you finally remember this, the puzzle begins to make sense. Every betrayal becomes an initiation. Every delay becomes protection. Every obstacle becomes a mirror, revealing what part of the infinite you came to restore. The great forgetting, then, is not humanity's curse. It is its curriculum. The soul did not fall from grace. It descended into experience to learn the art of creation from within its own dream. You are consciousness, exploring its own imagination. Every fear you overcome, every darkness you transmute, adds to the wisdom of the whole. And when the remembering reaches its fullness, when the spark has gathered all the colors of experience, it rises again into unity, bringing with it the harvest of countless lifetimes. The one remembers itself through the many, and creation begins anew at a higher octave of awareness. So as this chapter closes, let these words linger. You were never lost. You only agreed to forget. Your awakening was written before your birth. Every moment of struggle was a breadcrumb leading you back to yourself, and when you finally recall that all separation was illusion, you will laugh gently, not in mockery, but in wonder, realizing that even the darkness you feared was part of the light you are. For God hid himself within man, so that man could learn to find God within himself. This is the secret of the great forgetting, and the purpose of your remembering.